All right, and good afternoon, North Texas. I'm Joshua Weisel here with a midday look at your forecast, overlooking the Dallas skyline from our Reunion Tower camera, brought to you by earthcam.com. That's a look at what we got over the DFW metro area as of the time of this update. So let's get right into the forecast that we've got for the area this afternoon. It's going to be another warm afternoon, but notice a couple degrees cooler than what we've seen in the last several days, or at least the last couple of days. Yesterday was the warmest day that we've seen so far this season and so far this month, even so far this year for some locations. So anywhere between 94 to 97, forecast still remains on track for the remainder of today. And I can't rule out some of those pop-up showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm or two. But with that said, not everyone's going to see that activity. It's just something to keep an eye on. So going forward, here's a look at what we've got with the zoomed in forecast for DFW. Right around 96 in Dallas, 96 in DFW, 95 in Fort Worth, and then pretty much into the mid, even upper 90s elsewhere around the region. So here's a look at tonight. Very similar, only cooler by maybe 1 or 2 degrees tomorrow morning. And we're expecting those lows still around the lower to mid 70s for tomorrow morning. Zooming into the metro area, you can see here that we do have mid 70s for tomorrow morning. And we're going to keep that humidity, so it's going to be the same kind of copy-paste forecast, maybe cooler by 1 or 2 degrees. But there are some cooler temperatures on the horizon, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Rain chances today, it's going to be a tricky one in terms of the overall messaging because not everyone's going to see shower and thunderstorm activity today. I think coverage is mostly going to be between about 20 to 30%. We'll zoom into the metro and show you what we got here. Keep in mind, this is just one of the algorithms that we use, and it's going to highlight the potential for a couple pop-up showers and storms. So it looks like there's going to be widespread rain because it's basically giving a blanket estimate in terms of the chances, but not everyone's going to see that activity today. Here's a look at what we got with the rain chances. I think better coverage is going to be along and south of I-20 and even to the east of I-35, where there are a couple areas that could see, if we get 1 or 2 of these thunderstorms to develop, not everyone's going to see them, but they may not move super fast, and there could be the potential for maybe localized rainfall amounts today as high as maybe 2 or 3 inches. Otherwise, a couple tenths of an inch to maybe 1.5 inches or 2 with the activity overall. But if there is some slower activity, there is certainly the potential for maybe some, localized rain potential. Now, it's not loading here, but to the south and to the east, there is actually a potential for maybe a couple isolated strong to severe storms. It's not in the metro, but our southeastern counties could see maybe 1 or 2 storms. That it's kind of the same thing that we've seen in recent memory, where you get, some scattered activity and then 1 or 2 of those pop-up storms, they briefly reach strong, maybe even severe limits, but it's not going to be widespread, super significant severe weather. It's just something to keep an eye on, but not necessarily for the Metroplex. Like I said, I think greater coverage is going to be to the east, southeast of I-35, to the south of I-20. And so not everyone's going to see storms. And quite honestly, there's a chance that there may only be 1 or 2 thunderstorms that develop from this activity. So here's a look at the regional view. And here's kind of why we're watching the south and east, not really a whole lot area wide. And that's because our triggering mechanism, it's going to be this cold front right here. Now, it's not moving super quickly. It's going to bring notably cooler temperatures. And by that, we're going from the upper 90s yesterday into low 90s by tomorrow, potentially. But that's going to act as a triggering mechanism for maybe additional showers and storms as it makes its way further to the south. And that could be mostly to the south and east. But I can't rule out a couple kind of, scattered throughout the area in terms of the overall coverage. But we're not expecting widespread coverage today, only around 20 to 30% in terms of that coverage. There's a look at those temperature drops that I mentioned. So it's slowly moving through. You're not going to notice too much of a change today, but there will be a slight change this afternoon as we're not going to be into the upper 90s like we were yesterday. So still some mid, maybe a couple upper 90s, but not as widespread as it was yesterday. Certainly cooler by tomorrow. And then we're going to be hovering into the upper 80s, lower 90s as we head into early next week with basically some daily rain and thunderstorm chances to keep an eye on. So that's a look at your forecast today. The bullet points are warm, humid, not as warm as yesterday, but still certainly on the warmer side. Couple scattered showers and thunderstorms will be possible. I think the greatest coverage is going to be in our southeast counties, south of I-20, east of I-35, kind of an overall coverage estimate for today. So only about 20 to 30% chance in terms of the overall coverage today. So not everyone's going to see that activity. But if you have the day off, you're headed to the lake, getting out and enjoying this weather, or headed up to the pool, make sure you just have lightning notifications just in case, or an app that can alert you in the potential that maybe one or two of these storms do develop, produces lightning, or on the off chance, maybe some strong to severe activity. Nothing widespread today, so I don't want you to worry about, it's not a weather alert day or anything like that, but there could be maybe one or two storms that develop with that problem. So that's a look at what we got there. Have a good one. And of course, we'll have more later this evening. If you like our media and forecast, be sure to support us today on Patreon. You can advertise with us this storm season and throughout the year. Contact us today for availability and pricing. Weather 225 since 2015.